Hi, good afternoon here in London. My name is Ajit Tripathi, and I'm delighted to host four of our illustrious panelists. Navin Gupta, who is the managing director of MENA at Ripple, MENA and Southeast Asia. We have Sandeep Nailwal, who is the co-founder and CEO of Matic Network, Nischal Shetty, who is the founder and CEO of WazirX, and Naveen Surya, chairman of the Fintech Convergence Council. Gentlemen, welcome to our third anniversary conference, and we're delighted to have you here. So, I mean, coming from India, and I've been here for 10 years now, everything that goes on in crypto in India is of great interest to me personally and to us in Binance. Now, what's taking India so long to get on to the crypto journey, right? When we look across the region, China has made a lot of progress in the space. Obviously, there are other Asian countries in the Far East that have done really well in crypto. Why is India so slow off the gate, Naveen?
I think it has to be regulations, right? So as you know, in India, 2017, it was among the top countries in terms of crypto trading in India. And after that, there was a ban, or sort of call it the quasi ban, where the exchanges could not get a fiat on and off ramp. And that essentially made sure that the industry essentially disappeared. And now after the Supreme Court verdict is out, whereby the ban has been lifted, the growth of the industry is again there. But it's primarily around regulations. So wherever there will be hazy regulations, wherever there would be on and off switches, there will not be confidence in the market for both enterprise and individual players to come and play.
Right. So I guess, Nischal, you've been fighting this battle for some time. In India, and you've set up a very successful exchange. So what made you get into crypto, given the relative lack of a crypto ecosystem in India? And how did you get with the idea of get the idea of WazirX?
The thing is, when we were launching WazirX, there was still clarity. At least there was no banking ban, and the ban came into effect after about 3 weeks. So I don't know what I would have done if there was already a ban. Would I have launched? I don't know. But when you look at the last 2 years of the ban, I think most entrepreneurs did not take the plunge into crypto in India because of the banking ban. You do not want to start up where you cannot even have a bank account. How do you pay employees? How do you pay anything? So I guess we just happened to be a bit early and somehow survived through building P2P and stuff. But to your answer to your question about the whole why has India not been able to progress is this. I would while regulation is one aspect, but then we've seen a lot of industries where regulations not always clear in the beginning. That does not mean that we do not progress in that industry. So I think the banking ban has to be like the biggest factor to India being behind right now. Hopefully now things have gotten better. So I think 18, 24 months from now, we wouldn't be asking this question. If things go right, we should probably be, up there with the other countries.
Yeah, see, I agree with you that regulation is blamed around the world, but that hasn't really stopped the growth and adoption and mainstream adoption of crypto in most other countries. I haven't really seen Bitcoin mining operations come out of India, or lots of new protocols come out of India until I guess Matic really got started and practically got a lot of traction. So Sandeep, what got you into starting Matic, and why do you think there aren't so many other innovators like you out there?
Mindset is more on the application space, right? And that's why I think we were not, like, Indian developers were not that prominently featured across the globe when the protocol wars were there. Like 2017, late 2017, 18 were more like protocol wars, right? So there, we Indian developers have not been on the global stage that much, except except maybe only about except Matic Network or something like that. But I think a lot of Indian developers are actually working for in the protocol level for overseas companies. And the reason again comes back to the same situation, that due to this regulatory non-clarity, the VC investments are very constrained in India, right? And then for building a blockchain protocol, it's very hard to like compete and first of all build and then compete against the incumbents, across the globe, which have raised millions of dollars in funds, and then they can hire any kind of researchers and all that, and then spend money and out market you also and all those things. And with crypto, the geographical kind of boundaries also don't play that much of a big role. You can hire a marketing agency here and then pay them in, I don't know, maybe USDT or some stable coin or Bitcoin or whatever, right? So due to that, first, like a lot of, because of non-funding, a lot of protocol teams don't get that much promoted here. So that culture of having those protocol companies, like for example, you would know about full node offices in, let's say, Berlin, right? So a lot of protocol companies come out of that. So that culture has not cultivated over here. And that's why a lot of our protocol engineers are working with the overseas companies. And when we actually were starting to hire in Matic, once we raised a bit of funds and all that, we initially thought that we won't be able to find good protocol developers maybe from India. But we were very pleasantly surprised that now our team, in spite of us being fully open to hire from outside, we most of our, like 90% of all our developers are from India, and some of them are really good developers. Like they keep getting poached by the external companies. So I would say that in protocol side of things, due to the funding and non-clarity, as Nischal was also saying, that people are not taking a plunge, entrepreneurial plunge into this. So due to that, in protocol wars, we might be a bit behind. But for the application era that is now coming, once the protocols, protocol or scalability and all these things are fairly solved, I think on the application space, you would start seeing Indians more prominently, because our developer mindset is like that.
Yeah.
We are running multiple accelerators. We see much better applications in Indian context, for like which have real world use case than overseas applicants.
Makes sense. So, on a related note, Naveen, so what are you doing to change this environment and create sort of a more friendly setup for crypto entrepreneurs in India?
So we represent, as you know, the group of crypto exchanges from India. And if we do 100 things with regulators like RBI, where either we kind of agree, or let's say it's 49 things where we discuss and find a trade-off. This is one thing where we actually went head on and took this case against RBI notification that it released. So there was no blanket ban, thankfully, from RBI or from the government. So that actually saved the industry. And there's an interesting song from Leonard Cohen. I don't know if you heard. It says that there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So thankfully, we found that crack in the current ruling, and we got some light in. And we should thank that Supreme Court to take that view. Now, at this stage, we need to work very closely with the industry, because all said and done, the real concern here is about lack of education, understanding, and the real right from the government policy makers to the regulators. We need to educate them as much. At the same time, I think the industry, while they have taken huge efforts, kind of some risk mitigation measures, but it needs to become more and more visible. Even pre this ban and pre this any discussion, we were actually very closely discussing on taking a very vocal, very visible campaign out to kind of make it very clear to the government that we actually care about the customers, and these are the set of things that we are doing for them. Like we do insurance, keep doing, the IRDA keeps doing campaigns, the mutual fund companies keep doing the campaigns. I think some of those activities we're trying to work with the industry and see that it's not just about what you do as an individual company in your company, on your website, in your system, but as a collective industry. How do you show that you're actually doing something impactful for all of them? And of course, the one big thing that we're all working with is the self-regulatory body. I think that would go in the right direction. That's where the whole focus is just now from our association.
Yeah, so, and this is a question for all our panelists. When I speak to policymakers and regulators in India, and I've been connected in this ecosystem for about 6 years now, then their main complaint is that there are no real consumer applications, right? And I'm not agreeing with that. I'm just saying that the question they ask is, who needs crypto? As in, what are the consumer applications? And I know all four of you have been working in different ways on creating applications for consumers, which I call grandma. So what are those applications, and how would you convince the regulators that crypto is actually useful for the consumer?
So good part, Ajit, is that I know one entity I can't name, but they're working and they're very close to RBI. They're working on a huge system, which could be again world's first in a payment clearing side. You would see something on a blockchain coming. There is a serious effort that is going on to create a government issued digital currency. So at least these two applications are surely happening at a very macro level. There are a lot of others that are happening, probably other colleagues can talk about.
Right.
Yeah, on the micro level, like we also see a lot of entrepreneurs building, like I can't exactly speak for like crypto specific use cases, but I'm talking more about the blockchain specific use cases, right? Where people are deploying applications on public blockchain. So definitely in some way or the other protocols get involved, or like the crypto gets involved. So people like, recently we've been talking to a team which has built this, kind of these Naxal affected areas in Bastar, in Jharkhand, state of Jharkhand and all, where they have built these grievances, based grievances application portal in the local area, and they have onboarded local bureaucracy into it. And that, those their complaints actually go onto blockchain, right? So once they are there on blockchain, there is accountability, some level of accountability into it. Like some journalist can pick it up and then, can make an issue out of it. So these bureaucracy have a pressure to solve those issues. So those kind of real world use cases, like a team working for farmer supply chain. And in India, like, still, the farmer supply chains have a lot of corruptions and all that. So, they are trying to solve this quality or the trackability of these applications using public blockchains. And that's why, I was mentioning that some very solid use cases and real world applications of public blockchains.
I think to add to that, if you think about it, I think we're just moving ahead of the time. Um, I see crypto and the whole blockchain ecosystem. We are at the infrastructure laying stage. It's like the roads have not been laid, and we are saying where are the supercars or where are the amazing cars? I can't see them. Uh, we need to understand the reality today is that there's no infrastructure in the either even globally to build something that is I think able to onboard millions of users. And the other thing is in India, for example, if you do not have access to banking, if you do not have access to clarity, how do we expect products to be built? I mean, first we have to create a playground for people to come in, and that itself is missing. So I think that when the question is asked, where are the applications? I would say, where is the infrastructure or where is the regulatory clarity? And that is what I think right now as an industry we're trying to set. Um, and once these are done, I think 1, 2, 3 years from now, we would start seeing all these applications that people are asking for.
Yeah.
That's one part. I think the other part is crypto itself is an application, the ability to transfer value on the internet from one person to the other without any other barrier or middleman. I think that itself is like the greatest application that we've ever thought of. It was not possible 10 years ago before Bitcoin ever became a reality. So I think that itself is like the biggest application, send value from one person to the other, peer to peer. There's nothing better than that, I think, in terms of application.
So that brings us to you, Naveen, right? You've been working on remittances for a long time.
Yeah. So we are already live, right, in a number of other countries around the world where we are using XRP as a bridge asset to essentially move value from one fiat into another. We are live in Philippines, we are live in Mexico, and that's what something we want to do it in India as well. As you know, India is the largest receiver of remittances in the world, $79 billion a year. 35 million Indians live overseas who send money back to their families or their loved ones. The grandma example, there are a lot of grandmas who every day receive money from countries around the world. And also, you may not know that, but India sends about 18 plus billion overseas for education, medical, and other purposes. So there is about $100 billion, which pays on an average 7% in FX and fees. So that's $7 billion of Indian money getting lost somewhere. The second thing is I take even a more simpler example. You look at the yoga market in India, right? Globally, yoga market globally. Yoga is to India what pizza is to Italy, right? So maybe there are millions of yoga teachers in India who can teach, and all of us
need to do yoga. That's right.
Absolutely. I mean, and anybody on this call can essentially learn, but their biggest problem would be how to pay that $10 to a person in India who's teaching yoga. And crypto is a great way, because otherwise you'll spend $100 to pay that $10 to the person, right? So 100 billion yoga market, and there will be many Baiju's equivalent of platforms who will then originate from India, who will build on the top of it.
Yeah, so I have two other questions. So in Europe, we've gone through a long journey towards regulation, right? And we are continuing to create a harmonized regulatory framework across different European jurisdictions. What stops India from looking at the work that's already been done and moving away from the ban and creating a regulatory environment that allows crypto businesses to operate in a more innovative environment?
Ajit, I think the Indian government mindset is still not very clear. I think, as I said, that it's not really was a ban and it's not really lifted. Like what Nischal said, it is actually a fundamental issue still remains. In fact, there was a bill introduced, and part of the reason we got favorable verdict because there's been no clear ban from the government, and this is the reason. But at the same time, there was a bill introduced during tenure of the last government, I mean the same government but last tenure, which actually expressly talk about banning all private cryptocurrencies, but fundamentally at the same time allowing all blockchain uses, also allowing issuance of central government kind of a digital currency. So it's pretty, if you see, it's like an oxymoron, right? That you one side you're kind of stopping something, other side you're adapting it. Thankfully, that bill did not get clear. So the situation is pretty grave. We just got a small, really that crack and some light into it. We need to actually work harder with them, and their mindset has to change. I would say probably there is still some scope because if there is a favorable verdict, which means there's some rethinking happening, there is a parliament level committee getting constituted to relook at it. I think we need to put all our industry resources, including global knowledge, and work with them very closely to educate them. We tried it last time. Somehow it went into a different direction, but we need to redo it again. And probably that's very critical at this stage.
And Naveen, you published your own ideas on what the regulatory framework should look like. What are the key themes there?
I think our number one theme there is really public consultation, right? So, and Indian government has a history of that. If you look at number of laws that have been built in India, there has been extensive public discussion. And I think once that happens, all the people in this room can essentially present their case and essentially talk about what are the benefits of crypto and how some of the concerns of the government around AML, about financing and things like those, consumer protection, can be mitigated, and at the same time bringing innovation to the Indian masses, right? So that's what we have been asking about, public consultation, and after that go from there.
Yeah, so I'm Indian, right? And one of the things that Indians are great at is competing. So, I mean, that's how so many Indians have done well in Silicon Valley and in tech and so on. So maybe somebody should talk to the government and say, look, China is getting so far ahead. President Xi has announced a national strategy around blockchain. US, the SEC has made favorable pronouncements. Europe is UK, France, Germany. I mean, so there must be some competitive drive out there to say, if for the government to look at and say, well, if all the other countries see value in this, then maybe we need to look at this in a different light and create an ecosystem that allows India to sort of get ahead of the competition.
China, of course, is a wrong example, but anyway.
Well, it's a great example given the relationship. So,
it works both ways, so yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I think so. Ajit, we have to the thing is we have to understand that India is a large country, and it's going to take some time for the idea of crypto to ease into the country. And what you're seeing right now, all of these, the talk about a ban or unfavorable regulation, all of this is actually a process. And I don't personally believe, and a lot of us don't believe, that there will ever be a ban. But this is just a work in motion. So we will definitely see regulation, and they'll definitely be positive. But I think until then, we all have to fight for it. We all have to do what we are doing,
And I think one more thing that can add a lot of value is that if we have these startups, coming up which utilize blockchains in building consumer applications, and then government knows that okay, these are millions of users who are using, if not like millions, at least a million users which are using various blockchain enabled applications. And that's why like companies like us are promoting startups which actually add value to the governance related use cases, where they are actually adding using blockchains to provide transparency and the immutability and all those benefits of the blockchain, openness and everything. And our current government is very receptive of those things.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I used to work in enterprise blockchain, and there are I mean, all the IT services companies have tons and tons of enterprise blockchain developers, just not that much going on the public public blockchain space, and that's what needs to change. So, last question before we close: what is the one thing that each one of you plans to do to change the picture in India towards a much more favorable environment for crypto?
I think getting SRO in place from our side would be one big thing that we need to do, because, and again, I would repeat, blockchain is not the problem, technology is not the problem, is the private cryptocurrencies is where the government doesn't like, they don't have a comfort. So we need to fix that.
From our side, representation to the government and bringing the example from what Singapore has done, what Japan, Mexico, Philippines, everybody else is doing. And like you rightly said, Ajit, asking them, these examples are 2 or 3 years old, where things have been active, live, and learn from that and decide the strategy for India.
For us, our objective is, I would say just make it $1 billion company. The more value you create, no one's going to destroy it. So just going for that.
Love it.
Fully agree with Nischal also. So our goal is also to bring in, like, first get these startups to build like really solid end user blockchain applications and make $1 billion startups from there, and also bring in existing $1 billion IT companies into the blockchain. So recently Infosys like joined Matic Network as one of the validators and everything, and we are trying to build more and more such organizations, large Indian organizations, onto the blockchain landscape.
Thank you so much for your inspiring words and truly impressive vision and plans. It's an honor and a privilege to host you guys. And I'm sorry we only have 20 minutes today, but hopefully we'll meet again for a longer conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ajit. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.